$1.3 trillion spending bill yesterday, but complained about it.
He sure did. And Pepperdine University professor Michael Shires joins us now to break it all down. Good morning, Professor. Thank you for being here. So when he signed the bill, we know there was a lot of talk about DACA and the Dreamers. And some people are, I think, a little confused. What exactly was kept in?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in it. And I mean, as the president said, there's a lot of stuff to hate and there's some stuff to like. It's 2,232 pages.
Right.
Nobody knows. There's new Russia sanctions in it, for example. Nobody's claiming credit for putting them in, and nobody can figure out who put them in. So, I mean, you know, this is a piece of legislation that's just a monstrosity. It's the entire federal budget in one piece of paper. And so, you know, the bottom line is I'm not sure anybody knows what's all in it at this point. There's the extra money for defense. There's the extra money for social programs. We know that's there. Well, we know the wall and DACA are not there. You know, and that's raised some controversy because, you know, President Trump's executive order, reversing President Obama's executive order creating the DACA classification, is what precipitated the shutdown last time.
Right.
I think President Trump learned a little bit from the Democrat experience when they shut down the government last time and got a lot of backlash. I think when it came time to decide whether to sign this bill, and remember he was sending some signals, I don't know if I want to sign this bill or not, that when that happened, he thought back to what happened to the Democrats in February and said, you know what, I don't want to go there. I'm just going to sign this, even though there are a lot of things I really don't like about it.
Yeah, well, he did talk a lot about what he didn't like, and he said that there were a lot of bad things in there that the Republicans had to give for the Democrats, but that sounds like compromise and how this is all supposed to work. So
it is. I mean, you know, for once, Congress showed an ability to work together. I think the downside to it, though, and the really scary part is it's $1 trillion deficit that our kids, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and their children are going to be paying off. Our Congress has not figured out yet how to live within our means and to set priorities. And so because of that, we're spending way more than we have.
We also know that McMaster's is out. Bolton is in. What do we know about him?
Well, I mean, John Bolton was ambassador to the UN under President Bush. He's a very distinguished man. Everybody agrees he's very smart. He is a believer in American exceptionalism. He's somebody who believes that America should have a very prominent, strong role in defining the international political climate. And that scares a lot of people because, you know, this goes back to peace through strength under President Reagan. That also includes military action, and people are a little nervous that America's going to get more involved. I will say, though, in terms of foreign policy, he very much reflects President Trump's approach to foreign policy, I think. And President Trump, I mean, if you want to pick one area of the Trump administration where he's been fairly successful, foreign policy was one of those areas where he's actually made a lot of progress on the issues he was passionate about.
And real quick, before we let you go, former President Jimmy Carter has offered to go and be the envoy to North Korea. Do you think that's a good idea for the president to take him up on this offer? Do you think it could work?
Well, I mean, I can't imagine President Trump deferring to President Carter. I mean, if you think of the end of the Carter administration, the Iran hostage crisis, international negotiations for the art of the deal author, you know, I'm not sure he's going to turn that over to somebody else. I think there's going to be a lot of spotlight on this, and I can't see the president stepping away from that, from sort of one of his biggest foreign policy successes so far. So I really think that at the end of this, President Trump is going to show up if the Koreans show up. And I think, you know, the North Koreans may be looking for outs between now and May. We'll see.
We will see. Professor Shires, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time and insight as always.
It's great to be here with you.
Thank you.